Okay, welcome everybody. Today we have an extremely distinguished guest, somebody that I consider one of my heroes, even though we just met about 5 minutes ago. Today we have Rob O'Neill. Rob O'Neill is one of the most highly decorated combat veterans of our time and the author of the New York Times bestseller, The Operator, Firing the Shots That Killed Osama Bin Laden. And my years as a SEAL team warrior, a former SEAL Team 6 leader with the Naval Special Welfare Development Group, he deployed more than a dozen times and held combat leadership roles during more than 400 missions in 4 different theaters of war. A highly trained Navy SEAL, he led the military's most elite and was involved in our nation's most important campaigns. He has been decorated more than 52 times, including 2 Silver Stars, 4 Bronze Stars for Valor, and a Joint Service Commendation Medal for Valor. He is the co-founder of Your Grateful Nation, which provides individualized transition support to special operations heroes and their families. He is currently a contributor to Fox News. Welcome to the podcast, my friend. How you doing?
I am well, Mark. I appreciate you having me. This is good to talk to you.
Yeah, for sure. So I got to say that I read The Operator. I've watched every one of the movies that that was based from missions that you guys did in SEAL Team 6. 4 major motion pictures, correct?
Yeah, there was the rescue of Marcus Luttrell, the lone survivor. Mm-hmm. Excellent movie.
Yep.
Rescue of Captain Phillips, another good movie.
Yep. Tom Hanks.
Zero Dark 30, which I do. And then I wasn't with Chris Kyle, but I was in Ramadi at the same time, and that's American Sniper, another good movie, great book too, great Americans. And I didn't help make any of those movies, but they're all good.
They're all amazing. It's amazing that you were all kind of involved with all of those. I wanted to take everybody back to kind of the time when you were growing up. I have so much I want to talk to you about, but I want to take everybody back to the time when you were growing up. You were actually a collegiate athlete, which was your dad as well, right? You guys were both basketball players.
And, basketball was our thing. But we both played guard because he's about 6'3". I'm on a good day 6'1", and he played at the University of Montana, and then I played at Montana Tech.
Okay.
And that was part of growing up. That's what we did. I credit a lot of like my work ethic on the range, the shooting range, and other meticulous things that Navy SEALs did to my ability to shoot free throws. Because my father and I, every single day, we'd play almost every day for hours, but the rule was we can't leave the gym until one of us makes 20 free throws in a row. And you start with a make. So, 1 rebound is 1 shoot, start with a make, and then you go from there. So if you miss first one, whatever, you make one, then that's when you start counting. But the important thing there is you don't move your feet off the free throw line. You just made it. You're right there. You're set. I get upset to this day watching like the NBA when dude makes a free throw and then goes and shakes everyone's hands and goes. Yep. So you're set. We can celebrate afterward.
Yep.
But we would also, when our season started, it was 20 free throws in a row to leave the gym, and it was 20 free throws in a row to get a steak dinner at the Derby in Butte, Montana.
Wow.
Then once you made the 20, the steak dinner goes to 25. The leaving the gym stays at 20, but then it goes to 25 and 30, 35, 40. You get, make 50 free throws in a row to get your steak. Still 20 to leave the gym. We got to a point in my senior year where I think he made 91 in a row.
Wow.
Which was our family record for about a week. Then I made 105
in a row.
And it was just in a row. And it was just, it's one of those things. It's the muscle memory.
Yeah.
It's to do everything like you do anything. And it's just shooting free throws. And we would have little arguments about techniques, just the same thing with shooting or drawing your pistol. When you shoot the ball, do you keep your eyes on the rim or do you watch the ball go and see how it rotates? Weird stuff like that. And I credit a lot of what I know how to do with shooting with the free throws and the discipline to stay in the gym. And it can take a couple hours to make 20 in a row.
Sure.
But, we did it every day. And then here's a little known fact that, talk about muscle memory. And sometimes you just do stuff because you don't realize you're doing it because you've done it so many times. Like if you want to be good at something, do it 1,000 times, you'll be good at it.
Mm-hmm.
We would go into the locker room afterward, and I would bet friends of mine that were playing with us. I said, I'll bet you $5 that as soon as we get in the locker room, my dad takes off his shoes and his socks and he wipes his face with his sweat socks.
Oh, God.
But see, he doesn't even realize he does it. He's been doing it so long. So I win $5 or a soda or something every time because First thing you do, shoes off, socks off, wash your face.
Oh, that's awesome. That's just part of his routine. That he believes
and he still does it, and he does not recognize. He doesn't remember. Like, he knows he just did it, but it doesn't register because it's muscle memory.
Wow. Do you come from a long line of military people, or were you the first?
No, I was the first.
Interesting.
I joined on accident, basically. A lot of weird personal relationships. I got dumped by a girl. I wasn't going to be a starter on the basketball team, and college wasn't my thing. And I'm like, it is time to leave Butte, Montana.
Okay.
And the easiest way out of Butte, Montana is join the military. And I had two friends that I grew up with that they wanted nothing more in life than to be United States Marines. And so I would see them come home on leave after they had joined the Marine Corps, and they looked like Marines. Like Marines are just awesome. The picturesque military haircut, the build, and the attitude, and usually the USMC tattoo, and or a devil dog. And so I want to be like those guys, because I remember being impressed. I'm going to be a Marine. I've seen the movies of Marine Corps boot camp. I want to check it out, and I went to join. And that's when I learned that sometimes it's better to be lucky than it is to be good, because as luck would have it, the Marine recruiter was not there. The Navy guy was there.
Oh, dumb luck. Yeah. Crazy.
And I went into his office based on a joke that my two friends told me. They said the Marine Corps is actually part of the Department of the Navy. It's just the men's department. So I figured if they're a part of the same department, the Navy recruiter will know where the Marine is and when he'll be back.
Yeah.
And I went in there and I said, where's the Marine? And he said, why do you want the Marine? I said, well, I want to be a sniper. And Marines have the best snipers in the world. And he said, look no further. We have snipers in the Navy. You need to become a Navy SEAL first.
Just check that off. No problem.
No big deal. And then we'll send you to snipers. And go, like, I didn't know what it was really. I hadn't studied it. I don't know what SEALs are. I couldn't swim. And I seriously was thinking, well, this guy's a professional recruiter. Why is he going to lie? Mm-hmm. So that's why.
Recruiters are totally, they never mislead you, do they?
No, never. And it's not like I'm just trying to fill a quota. But he signed me up, and I was lucky again to sign in what they call the delayed entry program, mm-hmm. which is a couple months before they ship you out to boot camp. Okay. So in that time, I was able to get into the pool because I still had my college ID card to get into the pool up at the college. And so mm-hmm. I went up there, I swam, and I wasn't good. I could barely go 25 yards. And again, being lucky, I ran into a friend from high school who was going to go on to swim at Notre Dame. And he just said, why are you in the pool today? And I said, I joined the Navy today, and I'm going to be a SEAL. And he said, not like that. You're not. And so he taught me the breaststroke and the side stroke. Mm-hmm. And I was able to work on it for 5 months. And that was enough for me to pass the basic swim to get into SEAL training. I mean, a very basic swim, nothing to write home about, not very hard. But it's just a physical test. It's a 500-yard swim, mm-hmm. and then it's like 42 push-ups, 50 sit-ups, 8 pull-ups, and a 1.5 mile run in boots. Which, I mean, it's a solid workout, but it's not hard to pass.
Yeah.
And then I went to SEAL training. The good thing is that I found out that most of the timed swims are all in the ocean and with fins. So if you can just stay on your side and fin it out, there are going to be guys faster than you, but you can do it. One of the reasons I'm not going to make it through SEAL training is because I'll fail too many swims and they'll just kick me out. But I'll go to the fleet, to a ship for 4 years and then tell war stories or sea stories back in Butte, Montana when I get out of the Navy. And I got to SEAL training and started to realize, being from Montana, it doesn't matter what you look like or where you're from. You can do anything you want as long as you keep a positive attitude, keep moving forward, and avoid the negativity. Almost everyone there was normal. We have our top 1%, just like in any industry. Mm-hmm. Everyone was normal, but the guys who made it through training just get it, just get life. We had an instructor come to us and said, he pulled us in the classroom and said, I'm never going to ask you to do anything impossible. People do graduate this course. Look at me. I'm living proof. Mm-hmm. But I will make you do something very hard, followed by something very hard, followed by something very hard, day after day after day for 8 straight months. And that sounds like a lot to get from now to 8 months from now, but don't think about it that way. That is not how you achieve a long-term goal. Do it like this. Wake up in the morning on time. make your bed the right way, then brush your teeth. That's 3 victories. Make it to the 5 a.m. workout on time. And as you're going through that, don't think about the pain. Concentrate on your next goal, which is breakfast. After breakfast, make it to lunch. After lunch, make it to dinner. And after dinner, do everything you need to do to get back inside that perfectly made bed. And because you took the time in the morning to make your bed the right way, regardless of how bad today was, and it will be bad, don't quit right now. That's a motion. Quit tomorrow. Hold off quitting till tomorrow. You keep doing that in that time because I'll never ask you to do anything impossible. All you need to do to get from now to graduation day is not do one thing. No matter what, never quit. You'll be fine. So it's going to hurt, but you'll be fine.
You guys, you started with what, 200 in your buds class, I think, and then you graduated like 30 something.
227.
Okay.
And out of that group, we had 33 originals graduate.
Okay.
Which is a big class. We did have a few other men graduate with our class, so the number was a little bit higher because I think they're nice enough. Once you get to a certain goal and you get hurt, they're not going to send you back to the very first day. They'll send you back to that goal you just passed, so you can continue with another class. And
was it always like that?
Yeah,
it was. Okay.
Yes. So the goals are like if you make it through Hell Week, and Hell Week is SEAL training is bad enough. Starting before the sun comes up and finishing before the sun goes down, doing 1,000 push-ups a day, 1,000 flutter kicks a day, 1,000 sit-ups a day, hundreds of pull-ups a day, all kinds of calisthenics out in these workout areas, swims. It was a mile from where we worked out to the chow hall. So you got to figure you're running 6 miles a day just to eat. Mm-hmm. So this course was really Hell Week though starts on Sunday afternoon, and then you're doing SEAL training around the clock until Friday, and very little sleep. If you sleep any, it's a few minutes on Thursday. Miserable. But if you make it through Hell Week, then if you get hurt after that, you don't have to go do Hell Week again. Okay. Even though I know guys who've gone through Hell Week a couple times, which is unbelievable.
Yeah.
They send you back to the Monday after Hell Week with the next class. So things like that. Gotcha. So a couple questions when it comes to actually your road leading up to that. So how far along in college were you when you decided to enlist in the Navy? 1 year.
1 year. Okay. Did you ever think as you were going through the Navy, this would have been easier, or I could have gotten through all of this faster if I would have been an officer coming into this?
I didn't think that. And what I would recommend is getting college knocked out, get your degree, but enlist instead of going as an officer.
Okay. Gotcha.
Just as a SEAL now, because there's a lot of slots for enlisted SEALs, only a couple for officers. And you want to, the enlisted guys they're all operators, but if you want to be an operator, you want to be an enlisted guy first. And you can always, it's pretty easy once you have a degree to get to officer candidate school and become an officer eventually, which is great. Nothing against officers. Some of the best men that I served, actually, I had an officer tell me no one ever worked for me. They worked with me. Just solid dudes. And one time I said to him, just talking about the men, I said, you are in charge, sir. And he goes, oh, make no mistake. I'm not in charge. I'm just responsible.
Yeah, for sure. So they talk all the time. I mean, there's so many legendary stories about Bud's training. And the best recruiter in the world is those 4 major motion pictures, right? And Charlie Sheen and Rambo.
I know Charlie, and he's awesome. And he's so humbled and flattered knowing that so many people joined the Navy because of him.
Yeah.
And that movie's great. I don't care what anyone says. That's a great movie.
Yeah. So everybody talks about the physical toughness and all that you have to have. What is involved with all the skills that you have to learn? How much study is involved during that Bud's training?
See, that's what a lot of people don't know. I think on paper it's 9 weeks, but it's more like 13 or 14 weeks is all physical. Mm-hmm. But when because you're training a few weeks before you get there, before you start what they call 1 day, and then 1-2, like meaning week 1, day 2. Mm-hmm. I want to say it was 9 weeks long, including Hell Week. But then you get into second phase, which is 7 or 8 weeks long. And my numbers could be a little off. Mm-hmm. You get into diving, scuba diving. So open circuit, which is the one you see most commonly, bubbles coming out and you're breathing air. But then there's a closed circuit, which is a rebreather. So you're breathing straight oxygen so you got a little oxygen tank and you breathe it in. What you exhale goes through a softener line, soda scrubber. So it scrubs it back into pure oxygen.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of different, when you start dealing with depths and pressures and different laws, like Boyle's law, when pressure, there's less pressure, its volume increases, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So like something as simple as going down 4 feet, holding your breath and coming up, you could kill yourself. So there's all kinds of different laws with gases and oxygen, how you get the bends because of nitrogen in your system. If you don't you need to calculate your recompression limits. Like if you're diving deep, you need to stop at a certain spot and hold there so your body can adjust and release the nitrogen instead of it building up and then turning into little Rice Krispies on your hand.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of dive medicine type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You got to know CPR. You got to recognize if someone's hurting. You got to know how to do buddy rescues underwater, how to find them. So a lot of classwork calculations and stuff. And some guys get kicked out, not kicked out, just get dropped because they can't do the math now. Mm. So then you get done with the dive phase, and then you get into, I think it's a long one. It's 9 weeks again of land warfare. And that's when you start getting into shooting weapons. So you're shooting pistols and MP5s, MP7s, M4s, or HK416s, different calibers. And you get into explosives, electrical and non-electrical. And then you need to know everything about how electricity works, how to make sure you don't touch this before you touch that, and always ground yourself and things like that. And then you're calculating time fuse. You need to do certain math for how long of a fuse do I need for this amount of time, and because we're always about the basics. I mean, we're not using time fuse now. Rarely, but if it all comes down to that, you need to know how to calculate and cut a time fuse. You need to know a minimum safe distance for a certain weight of charge, and you need to you know how close you can be to it. So do all that, and then the last part, and no one knows this either. The last part I think is about 30 or 40 straight days on San Clemente Island, which is right off the coast of California. Mm-hmm. And the instructor, you don't get a day off out there. You get weekends off, believe it or not, in buds. You need to heal. Mm-hmm. But on the island, you go 40 straight days, no days off. And the instructors are funny. Because they're just Navy SEALs too. And they said, we can torture you on one of the nicest beaches in the world in front of the Hotel Del California. But imagine what we can do to you out of San Clemente Island where nobody can hear you scream. Yeah. So that was just a miserable time. Learned a ton. But then you get back. I mean, and talk about doing, eating nothing but good food, vegetables, drinking milk and water, and 40 straight days of working out. You're in great shape. You're healed up, and now you graduate. And it's the best time of your life. And that's when they assign you to a SEAL team. And the way the SEAL teams work is just groups of SEALs divided by numbers. And they put the odd numbers in San Diego. Mm-hmm. So SEAL Team 1, SEAL Team 3, 5, and 7. And then the even numbers are in Virginia Beach, SEAL Teams 2, 4, 8, and 10. And I wanted to go to the East Coast. So I picked or they give you a dream sheet. I picked 2, 8, and 4. And because if they're going to send you to the coast you want at least, and I did get SEAL Team 2 because I got lucky. And SEAL Team 2, you got to figure pre 9/11. This is 1996 when I graduated, mm-hmm. And the only thing really going on in the world that needed us was Bosnia. And SEAL Team 2, that was their area of operation, and with the way that the cool guys called it, was that's the only game in town. So I that's why we wanted 2, and I got 2, and it was another lucky shot, but best thing that could have happened to me.
It's interesting that you said 2, 4, 8, and 10, and you left out SEAL Team 6. And if you listen to the operator, which I did, I'm a slow reader, so I listened to it. Is 9.
Good, I'm glad I read that.
Yeah, 9 hours and 45 minutes, and it's straight through. Most fascinating, awesome book that I've ever consumed. But awesome. Every time you went to say SEAL Team 6, and I was listening to it with my sons too, it was SEAL Team Beep, SEAL Team Beep, or
we had to blur that out because I submitted mine's the first book about these missions that went through the proper channels to be vetted by the agencies, by the most importantly, the Department of Defense. And so the way the process works is you submit your book, and then they give it back with suggested redactions. And pretty much the only thing they took out was the number 6. So it's like,
the weirdest
if that's what we got to do. It gives it it's even blacked out in the book. It's like, it's kind of cool, but everyone knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, of course.
And I mean, a guy wrote a book called Inside SEAL Team 6 and it got approved. But they didn't cut it out. I know a couple of friends of mine that had their book completely annihilated. Ryan Zinke, who was a sitting member of Congress, they took out a couple hundred pages of his book that he submitted. I don't know. I don't know. I think it's because I didn't badmouth anybody. I told the truth, and I admitted that was the time that both sides of the aisle came together, and President Obama did an amazing job, and so did Secretary Gates and Admiral McRaven. I mean, it was just it got approved. I loved it, and it's and I did read it. And 9 hours and something but it takes a lot longer to record.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah. I can only imagine how tired your voice was after that.
Yeah.
Tell me about, like, going back to Buds, and I'm going to bounce forward. What did you think was the biggest challenge in Buds? Was it psychological? Was it emotional? Was it physical? What was
physical?
Go ahead.
The most challenging thing for me, we have a symptom that most guys get, and it's a really painful side of your knee. It's not even a strain. I don't know what it is. They said something about ITB, and I only remember that because it stood for I tried Buds. It's just the most painful. It feels like needles or nails going through the outsides of both your knees, and the only way to get it better is to stretch your butt. So that was the most challenging because I had it for a couple of weeks, and it's even walking. It's like someone's kicking the side of your knee, and I don't know. That was the most painful thing. And then one day it ended. I remember I kept stretching it out and it stopped. And then, the swims were, I passed every one of them. I didn't care for them, but we did them. And we did the 5.5 nautical mile ocean swim twice. Which is like 7.1 normal people miles.
That's a great story in the book. Oh my gosh. I love that. Where they took you in a bus because, quote unquote, the current was too strong. And then you guys got pulled in, huh?
The current was going south to north for the first time in 22,000 years. So we're going to let you swim with the current, and we swam against it the whole way, and they ended up pulling most of us after 5+6 hours because most people didn't make it. I mean, we were close. I was within 100 yards, but they pulled us out, and even some of the instructors got in trouble because the bosses were like, "You're going to kill these guys with that." There were points on that swim where we're so far out because the beach was concave, so you don't want to swim down the beach. You want to do a straight shot at the Hotel Del, right at and look at it, swim to it. And we got to a point where we were a few miles off the beach, and it's just funny being out there with a friend. Like, if we run into a shark out here, he's going to be big, and that's in the back of your mind. But yeah, we finished it, and we figured, we didn't make the full distance, but at least we're done because that's enough time. And I think we had the next day we came in and we were going to do dive medicine. And they said, "Hey, because you guys didn't all finish the swim, put your pens down. We're get your fins on. We're doing it again." Ugh. That was probably the meanest thing anyone's ever done to me in my life. And I've been shot at.
Wow. That's crazy.
But we did it. And the funny part about that was, when you swim, you have a web belt, a knife, and on the knife is a flare. It's taped on. Okay. And they give you a swimmer inspection before you leave, and you face your buddy. They walk down. You got to check your buddy, then they check you. And I looked down, and Monty, my swim buddy, had a king-size Snickers taped there instead of a flare. And it's like, dude, if they catch that, we're both going to be in trouble. And he goes, "If you don't say anything, I'll split it with you."
So he got that one through, huh?
Yeah, we got through, and then halfway to the swim, we ate a Snickers bar in the middle of the ocean.
Oh, that had to have helped, especially having to do it twice. Yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the things I loved about the book was you felt like you were kind of there. You talk a lot about the necessity for having a sense of humor and how funny special ops guys are. How big a part of the culture is it?
I was amazed when I first got to SEAL Team 2 how funny everyone is. I was trying to be a fly on the wall, and I was listening to the older team guys talk to each other. And it's amazing how funny they are. Very creative and funny. They would joke. Well, at SEAL Team 2, we would still do a 2-mile swim every week, no matter what, no matter which month. So we're talking January in Virginia, cold, and on the bus driving to where the Lesnar Bridge, which is 2 miles from the other bridge. The humor on because I think the more we know it's going to suck, the funnier they get. It's just because we're misery loves company, realizing complaining about it's not going to help, worrying is not going to help. I might as well enjoy myself.
Yeah,
and it's a dark sense of humor, but guys are really funny.
So, okay, one of the things also that is fascinating is you talk about, well, first of all, I'm going to go here first. So you went from SEAL Team 2 to trying out for SEAL Team 6. What was it about SEAL Team 6 or this other unit that was attractive to you?
Well, at that time, it was post 9/11, and we're getting stories back of what's going on, and SEAL Team 6 was getting really good missions. They were getting in the fight, and they were losing guys, but I would see these guys out in town, and I don't know. It was just the look. Like we can say that we're. SEALs go to war. But like these guys, they're just a look like if anything big happens, these guys are going. I gotta see what this place is about, because we'd heard the rumors of even in the conventional teams, which we call them, guys would come back to conventional teams from SEAL Team 6, and you always just knew he was a Team 6 guy. And there was just a level of, you would hear stories that they would tell about how much better the travel is, how much better the budgets are, how much better the training is, how much better the guys are. And I figured, I might as well try it. And that's even a risk too, because half the guys that try out don't make it. Half the Navy SEALs that try out don't make it.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy to me.
And it's nothing against the guys that got booted. No one quits, but they get kicked out for performance. They don't want to go back to a team being the guy who tried but didn't make it. It's you're rolling the dice. But I figured it was time, and then I got there, and then went through a selection course. The reason SEAL Team 6 is better is just because they're older, more experienced SEALs. There's a minimum amount of years to be in the teams before you can even try out.
Yeah.
Harder physical tests, and then really intense training. But it's not. It's tactical training. Very tactical skydiving, parachuting. Very tactical close quarters combat. But it's mind games, and they want to see if you can make decisions and think and not get stressed. And that's what they're testing you for. That you'd be doing stuff perfectly, and all of a sudden you're getting hammered for screwing up. Like where we train in Mississippi, it's 105 degrees in May. How long
is the training?
9 months.
Oh man, that's as long as buds.
It's a full selection course, and we go through everything in that course. But like they'll beat you. Not beat you, but like tire drags with your big monster truck tires, body armor, helmet, gun, hot and humid, and you're dragging it all. And as you're dragging this tire, you're dehydrated. You're getting angry, and now you're questioning yourself. What did I do?
Yeah. Why am I here?
Yeah. Why are they punishing me? I thought I was doing all right. And then as soon as you're done getting beat, they put you right in the front of the line, and you're going in the house fast again, because they want to see how you handle it. We know their attitude was, we know you didn't screw up, but we punished you for screwing up. Can you get over it?
Yeah.
And that's what I learned was simple about life. Some great advice in life is get over it. Whatever it is, just get over it.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's a mind game, but and then it's skydiving, scuba diving. We get into a lot of secret stuff, and then all kinds of training. There's a prisoner training. Well, where you're the prisoner interrogation, getting interrogated, and but then you get into your squadron at SEAL Team 6, and that's just a whole new world. And then they're funnier too.
Yeah, usually much older, or
yeah. I would say the average guy going through is 28 to 30.
Okay. And how old were you when you started?
28.
28. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. Because they need a certain amount of years. And most guys that come to the SEAL teams are about 20, 21.
You did a really good job in the book talking about, the people that place charges on the doors. You guys go in through the front door usually. and you kind of sweep through the houses and go through the missions, catch the bad guys, try to avoid, the civilians inside. And you said it got to the point that you had so many missions, you were on 400 plus missions, that it got pretty routine. And at some point, it wouldn't even raise your blood pressure or increase your pulse, or you wouldn't really feel a surge of adrenaline after a while because it became so routine.
It was routine. The way I describe it is there was a point near the end where when the shooting started, all that meant is, oh, cool. It's just got more exciting. Yeah. And that's what kind of concerned me too, because I think, if you get complacent, it's going to get you killed.
Yeah.
Doing something so many times, you have a tendency to want to take shortcuts, and that's where they'll get you. I was a big believer in always follow our rules. Always have our rules. If the rules need to be changed, change them. If it makes more sense and it's just as safe, if it's more efficient, then do it. Make sure everyone knows the rules, but we always follow our rules. Always. My wife is in the power line industry, and I talk to her linemen, the guys that actually get up on the lines and fix the power for everybody. And I tell them same things, like, your foreman doesn't have you here for 10 hours a day because he wants you to work a 10-hour day. It's because this is the safest way to do it. Safety is the most important thing. Here's where you're going to get killed. It's going to be a great week, and you're going to be up on a pole and look down and realize you forgot your gloves. But then you're going to think, well, it's 20 minutes down, it's 25 minutes back up, and it's just a quarter turn. I'll just do that, and then boom. That's it. Lightning's faster than bullets.
Yeah.
So we would make sure I would make sure my guys always followed the rules. And even though maybe that means we have to walk for 2.5 hours before we get to the target, instead of flying right to the target, it just makes more sense because we're quieter. We're picking the lock. They don't hear the helicopter. It's safe. But people get complacent all the time. I'm convinced a lot of people in war get killed because they were bored.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's like one of those things where we're sitting around. We got to do something. Let's do something. Let's go find it. It's like, why, man? A bullet needs to be right once.
Right. Good point. So you are obviously most well known for being the trigger man and killing Osama bin Laden. But what a lot of people don't know is you were involved with the Captain Phillips rescue as well, which was a movie starring Tom Hanks. And that was just an awesome, I thought it was a fascinating movie. And I just remember thinking, excellent stuff. Holy cow, the precision of the snipers in that. But what I wanted to ask you is that you had a great story about where you were when they called you and told you that you had to go on that mission. They didn't tell you exactly what it was, but it's a hilarious story about you spending time with your daughter and what happened 16 hours later. You're kind of comparing to here I am with my daughter, and then 16 hours later, I'm doing this crazy mission, saving this captain from Somali pirates. Can you tell that story?
Yeah, we were in Virginia Beach at Rollingwood Elementary School, where my daughter was in preschool.
Okay.
And it was my birthday, Good Friday, April 10th.
Oh, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Just
we just had one.
Yeah.
Kind of like every other day recently. We were serving him Easter treats. So like cookies and tea. And we're hanging out with him, and I got a message that Captain Phillips had been taken. And when you get that message, it's by the way, you're going to get him now. So kiss the girl, certain amount of time to get into work, and then wheels up in a certain amount of time. And from the time I got the message in my daughter's preschool classroom, it was 15 hours and 46 minutes, and we had a full head count in the Indian Ocean. And then we had no idea what we were going to do, because as a command, we thought we had thought of everything. Mm-hmm. As far as rescues at sea. We were designed to rescue people at sea. So everything you can imagine, cruise ships, some with a nuke on it, yachts, but no one ever thought of a fully enclosed lifeboat being towed by a Navy destroyer. And I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, everybody come up with a plan, everyone. And then we'll write the plans up on the board, and we'll slowly take away plans, which doesn't make sense. And we put the snipers out on the fantail, the back of the boat, to watch. And you guys watch him, and you make sure nothing unsafe happens while we prepare to rescue him. and something very unsafe happened. And this is where it wasn't like the movie. There wasn't a 3, 2, 1, execute.
Yeah.
It was they shot and they read off each other. And the coolest thing that I think about that story is that we hadn't done this in over 25 years. It was a long weekend and it's Friday. They were in Virginia Beach on Friday in their own beds Thursday night. Their guns did not need to be sighted in for the most difficult shots of their lives, but their guns were sighted in for the most difficult shots of their lives. So that's how they prepared. That's so cool.
Yeah, it's absolutely unbelievable. Can you tell us about like the selection process for why did it end up being Navy? Why did you guys get the Bin Laden Operation Neptune Spear mission?
Yeah, I was surprised too, because we always assumed it would be Army Special Forces, just because land, mountain stuff. But we had been working in Afghanistan since the beginning. For some reason, the Tier 1 unit in the Army wanted Iraq, because that's where some serious fighting was going down. That was kind of the big one. But we managed to set up certain posts around Afghanistan, got to know a lot of the locals. But most importantly, what we did is we put a lot of senior officers in Washington, D.C., up near the Capitol, up near the State Department, up in the White House. We had SEALs in the National Security Council. And they were preparing for the future. When they find Bin Laden, they will already know us. And we were lucky to have Admiral McCraven was in charge of Joint Special Operations Command, which is the parent company for the 2 Tier 1 units. And he was able to sell it to President Obama. And because everyone was comfortable with the way our past, what we had done, not that the Army is not awesome, they're incredible, and they could have done it, but they'd seen what we can do. And President Obama simply said, I wasn't 100% certain Bin Laden was there, but I was 100% certain these guys could go find out and come back alive.
Yeah, awesome.
So we did a good job prepping the battlefield.
Very cool story in the book about when they kind of assembled you guys, and they were being very, very tight-lipped about what you were assembled for. And then you guys kind of guessed that it was going to be, that they had found Bin Laden. And then you guys started to prepare for that. But before all of that, you had to say goodbye to your family. And it was a very dramatic part of your story. Can you talk about that?
You can't really, it's hard to say goodbye because they don't know you're going.
Right.
They don't know. We weren't allowed to tell anybody what was going on. And we certainly didn't tell them we were going over to Afghanistan to fly into Pakistan to kill Bin Laden. So they didn't even know the risk. They didn't know we were leaving. When I took my youngest daughter, who, boy, was she 3? Maybe 3 years old at the time. I took her to Chick-fil-A, and she was the one that's not in school, but she didn't know it. But this is the last meal we're having together. And that's what I took it as. Never going to see her again. She didn't know. She wanted to play in the ball pit.
Yeah.
And she went into the ball pit with another girl who was her age. And I sat with that other girl's grandmother, and we were just talking. And I remember thinking, this woman has no idea who she's talking to right now.
Yeah.
We're getting ready to go.
Wow.
And so that was tough, saying goodbye to the girls. And I didn't really say goodbye to my father or my mother until I got over to Afghanistan. And my last call that I called everybody, but my last call was to my dad. And I thanked him for everything. I thanked for free throws and hunting and teaching me how to be a man. And he didn't know he didn't really know what I was. He knew something was up now, and he didn't know I was in Afghanistan. And I would actually call him on other missions beforehand and say, he'd know I was going on a mission. He'd say, I wish I was going with you. And I'd say, yeah, I wish you were too. But on this one, he said, I wish I was going with you. And I said, I'm with good guys. Because it could have been it. That's, there was a very high probability of dying on this mission. Ugh. And because even on the flight over, we don't know if this technology works. We could get shot down. They have air defense.
Yeah.
There's going to be a gunfight as soon as we land. And if anyone's going to blow himself up and kill his entire family and us in the house, it's him. We're going to run out of gas because we don't have operating bases to refuel. And then we're going to be on the ground in Pakistan. We're going to die in a Pakistani prison or in a gunfight with the Pakistani police. We're not coming home. And I remember telling my guys, this is a one-way mission.
Had you ever written your family letters before any mission?
No, I had never written the death letter, but I did this time. And that was a weird part because normally you can give your letters to your buddy to keep in his locker whatever, but you can't now because your buddy is going with you. He's going to be dead. So I put mine in a manila envelope with instructions about the instructions inside. And I had to find an intel guy who was going to be in the operational command and give it to him. And I said, you'll know what to do with this if it happens. And I said, however, if you see me tomorrow, I want them back. So, and he's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, you'll know, trust me. And so I had instruction to open here, then it would say, send these to these people. And then I got them back. I came back after the mission, and I'm not sure how I feel about this, but the first thing I did was shred them.
Really?
I didn't want to read them again.
Well, what did you write in the letter? So you wrote it from the perspective when they were older, or were you speaking to them as children in the letters?
Older.
Okay.
I told them, I'm sorry, I missed your weddings.
Oh, man.
Then I explained the nobility, why we did it.
Right. That must have been a really difficult thing to do.
Whew. You're trying to make me cry.
Oh, sorry, man. Yeah.
It's good. A good cry is cleansing.
Yeah, it sure is.
I believe that. Oh, I'm a movie crier. People don't know that. I will sit there and I will cry at a movie start to finish. I love it. I think it's good. It's like sweating.
Yeah. Yeah. My wife cries for Hallmark commercials. She cries for everything. But yeah, so you talked about the reason we were doing this, and I'm going to go back to your team. Were you guys excited about this, even though you knew that there was a huge probability that you were going to die?
Oh, this is what we all came for. This is it.
Wow.
What a way to go too. Like we're going for the people who jumped out of the towers.
Oh yeah.
This guy did it, and we're going for them. And I was so comfortable with the point of dying, I wasn't scared. And even going up the last set of stairs, knowing he's in there, knowing he's going to blow up now, it was just all right, let's just get it over with.
Wow. I mean, I know there's got to be a lot of superstition to never saying, hey, we might die on this mission, but did you guys actually say that out loud to one another? Before?
Oh, yeah. And I mentioned how funny these guys are. There were times when we had to stop each other from joking. Like, hey, we got to take this serious, guys. This is it. This is the last one. So we can. But then, when we got there, it's like, that's his house. He's in there.
Like, wow.
Yeah, it was
So
imagine the emotions of that, like knowing you're gonna,
it's just,
and then like killing him, and then, hey, wait a minute, maybe we're gonna live, maybe we're gonna pull this off.
Wow. Let's back up and talk about the training. You talked about that you had this compound that was a near replica. The intel was so good that you had a near replica, and that's what you guys were training on. Were you surprised when you got there at how accurate all the intel was?
No, because I'd spent enough time with the woman who found him.
Okay.
And they even reference that in the movie when one of the SEALs said, "Why are you so confident?" He says, "I'm confident because of her." Really? And she was saying 100%. Like, she would tell us every night that Osama Bin Laden is on the 3rd floor of this building right now. I don't know why we're not going today. And but they had a compound that they built, and we got to train on the specifics, like the measurements of the size of the yards, the measurements of the house. Mm-hmm. Obviously, the interior we didn't want because you don't know what it looks like. You can't see it. Right. But you want to know so you can plan contingencies. They did have a 2-scale model that we stood over, and we would talk about it after training for all day and all night. You come back and you talk about it. We were just contingencies. We're trying to knock out every possible what if. Mm-hmm. What if 3 cars come out of the garage and split up? Who's taking what? What if? And then the youngest guy in the room said, what if the helicopter crashes in the front yard?
Oh, that's what actually happened.
We're like, dude, what are you doing? Why are you jinxing this? Yeah. And he goes, maybe we should talk about that for 30 seconds. And that's the worst thing imaginable. And that's exactly what happened. Wow. And then, and the pilot, that pilot doesn't get enough credits. He didn't crash. He crash landed. He put it down so it would land straight up on the fence. Mm-hmm. And he made that decision in about the blink of an eye. Those pilots are the most professional guys there, no doubt about it. They don't get credit.
I was wondering during the book and in the movie why. I mean, because you guys were so sure that there was going to be suicide bombers in there, that they had that it was rigged somehow. Why do you think that compound was not rigged the way you guys expected it to be?
Like, I'm not even kidding. Like I mentioned before, complacency kills. Huh. He thought he was safe, hiding in plain sight.
Crazy.
He had the protection of the intel services in Pakistan. Like, he got complacent.
Huh. How many guys entered the house?
I don't know. If I had to guess, let's see, 15 maybe.
15.
We went with 23. We had to leave guys outside.
Okay.
Other guys cleared different houses. We planned about 15 or 20, but the plan was to land I was going to go on the roof and then jump down to the balcony where we thought there was a window into his bedroom where we could take a shot. Mm-hmm. And that didn't come close because our pilot didn't want to try to hover there because he knew we would crash. So he let us out in the yard. And then, but it was cool because we just we'd been preparing for so long to work together like that it was not a problem. Because I got let off where I got let off, I was able to watch. Like, I was in the back. Mm-hmm. So I got to watch the mission. Like, I got to watch cool guys be cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I got lucky.
You had a front row seat.
I had a front row seat, and I didn't know the helicopter crashed. I just knew we had to get in the front door. And it was just, and I was like looking up, like, yeah, cool. This has been Laden's house. Oh. The flight in was interesting because we had 90 minutes to get there. Mm-hmm. And how do you kill that time for lack of a better term, when you could get shot down at any moment? But again, the training came in. Me worrying about a missile hitting us right now is not going to stop it, so I'm not going to worry about it. It's a waste of my energy. Don't worry about things you can't affect.
For sure.
And something else important: 90% of the stuff you worry about never happens anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I was counting. Some guys fell asleep, if you can believe that.
I was going to ask you about that. Yeah, on the helicopter ride there, 90 minutes, right?
I'm looking at one of my guys, thinking, you were asleep on the ride to Bin Laden's house. You have ice in your veins, man.
That is crazy.
I had Cairo the dog next to me, and he took a little nap. And I was sitting in a tripod hunting chair next to my boss in Cairo.
What were you doing?
Counting. Counting in my head, 0 to 1,000, 1,000 to 0.
When you do that, is that a form of meditation, or is your mind empty, or actually focusing on something when you're doing it?
No, it's just counting, because you got to keep your mind doing something, or else you're gonna over worry, over stress. I learned that as a sniper. When we would some missions in Kosovo, we're out there for a few days looking through a scope at a telephone pole for hours at a time. And it's like, just got to do something to occupy your mind, and it takes your mind off it for a little bit. And then, we're just flying in there, and then we made a turn, and that was, when you make a turn, you're getting close. So we were 10 minutes out, and I don't know how I remember the quote, but as I was counting, in the middle of it, I was like 556, 557, 558. Freedom itself was attacked this morning by a faceless coward, and freedom will be defended.
That was George.
And that's what President Bush said on 9/11. I don't know how I remember it. I tattooed it on myself.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing.
And that's sort of when it sinks in. It's like, wow, I was selected for this mission. My team is on this mission. And it's exciting. So, and you made it like 80 minutes, you might get on the ground.
I know you've told the story a zillion times, but if you don't mind, I'd love just to talk you through. So you guys get through, 15 or so guys go in, and then there's 3 flights of stairs, right?
We had two. You know what? We had 4 outside. Yeah, 4 outside.
Okay.
So 2 snipers, dog handler, dog, and then the interpreter. So 5. Well, 5 and a dog. Okay. He's an American also. Mm-hmm. And then we went in with the rest of the guys, and then we had the other guys were already in there from the other helicopter. So that's about 11.
Okay.
And then we went in with the rest of our team. And the first thing we did is we went to the northeast corner, because there's a door there, and we knew we could blow it up and go in from that side. Mm-hmm. And the breacher put a 7-foot charge of C6 on that door. There's a double door, and he blew it up, and there's a brick wall behind it. It opened, but there was a wall.
Oh.
And he looked up and said, failed breach. This is bad. And I said, no, this is good. That's a fake door. Nobody does that. He's in there.
Oh yeah.
So then we went to the main door, the carport, which is also a double door that we knew opened.
Mm-hmm.
And we said, we're going to blow the carport. And someone said, don't blow it. We'll open it. And it opened. And a thumb came out with a glove that I recognized. And he said, I didn't know the helicopter crashed. I thought they were doing a racetrack because they got shot. What they were saying was dash one going around. What he was saying was dash one going down.
Whoa. So
they crashed. I didn't know, but they're in there. And then again, I'm at a point in my life where it doesn't matter how we got here. We're here.
Okay.
And that's a good thing for life. Hey, stop blaming it. We're just here. We'll talk about it later during the debrief, and we'll learn from it. We're just here.
Yeah.
So, kind of like now. It doesn't matter why we got this virus. We got it. Now let's do something.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we went in the house, and I turned to the left and went in the front door. My guys were already in the hallway, clearing different rooms. They'd already been in 2 gunfights, killed some terrorists. And now they were moving. Well, one team of 2 guys there was a barricaded door at the end of the hallway. They're called working a problem. It's a barricaded door. They're trying to bust through it. So other guys are gathering kids and putting them with their moms or their relatives, because that's what good guys do. I don't want the kids to be scared. And then I heard a guy behind me go, helicopter crash. He whispered it to me. I'm in a room, and I said, what helicopter crashed? And I thought some other helicopter had been shot down that was coming in and behind us. And he said, our helicopter crashed in the front yard. You walked right past it. And then at this point, one of the snipers had the dog, and he was making a big circle around the compound so no one could escape. And he ran into the helicopter. You could see the tail sticking over the wall. Mm-hmm. And he said, be on alert, guys. They're definitely ready for us. They have a training mock-up of our super secret helicopter in the front yard.
It was your helicopter.
Yeah, and then the boss came over and he goes, no, jackass, that's ours. We crashed. And the sniper goes, yeah, that makes more sense than the shit I was just saying.
That's crazy.
We're going in Bin Laden's house, and this is a conversation.
Well, it's crazy to me that you guys are even just like having a conversation inside his house. Yeah. Well,
we had worked this. We'd done problems harder than this so many times, every night. Huh. This one was actually refreshing because it's bigger, and we know it's a normal type house, other than the high walls.
Okay,
but we can get through those. So the breachers got through that problem, and they went up a set of stairs. I was like 8 guys back, 7 guys back, and the woman that found Bin Laden said, I don't know where it is, but you're going to find a stairway. Mm-hmm. And Khalid Bin Laden's going to be on it. And he's going to be armed. Mm-hmm. And he's his last line of defense. And she said,
is that his son?
Yeah.
Okay. That was his son.
10-year-old son. And she said, if you can get past him, you get a shot at the big guy.
Okay.
That's just kind of cool how she was. So the point man ran into him, and they worked an angle on the stairwell, and he shot Khalid, who had an AK-47 on him. And then we stepped above him. And when we got to the second flight, or the second deck, the second floor, guys went left and right because you have to clear all the problems around you before you go up another level. So that left me with one other guy. And the one other guy's pointing up the stairs, and I turned into what we call the number 2 man. So I have my hand on his shoulder, so he doesn't have to look back. He just looks forward down his barrel, which is where you're supposed to. My job is to look back, and I'm waiting for anybody. I want 2 more guys. Mm-hmm. I want 4 more guys, but I'll take 2. And he's looking up the stairs, and he could see movement through this curtain. And he assumed those are the suicide bombers. Now they're getting their stuff on, but we can beat them. But we got to go now. And he kept saying to me something like, come on, we got to get up these stairs. We got to go. And that's when I was like, he was definitely brave. I was just like, all right, I'm tired of thinking about it. Let's get it over with. Gave him a squeeze, and we went right up the stairs fast. He moved the curtain, and he jumped on the people that were moving because he assumed they were going to blow up. Uh-huh. So he wanted to absorb that explosion for the guy behind him. He didn't know it was me. He didn't know it was me. He just knew it was one of his guys.
Wow.
And so he went this way. I had to go that way to protect him. And there's Osama Bin Laden standing there with his hands on his wife's shoulders. And I recognize his nose. And he's a threat. He's not surrendering. He's the suicide bomber. I got to shoot him.
Is it true that was he using her as a shield?
I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe. I don't know what he was doing, but he wasn't surrendering. And with a suicide bomber, you have to shoot them in the head, right in here, anywhere in there. So I did. And he was close. So I shot him twice. And then I shot him a third time on the ground. And then I moved his wife. It was an easy shot because he was 6'4". And I was a foot away from him, and moved his wife, put her on the bed, and moved the kid. And there's a child in there. I remember that part too, just the emotional part of. There's a 2-year-old boy standing there, and I remember thinking this poor kid had nothing to do with this, and he didn't deserve that. The weird stuff. But then, so I moved her. Other Navy SEALs are coming in the room doing their thing, and I'm standing there, and I'm kind of sitting there, and one of my guys comes up. He goes, "Hey, are you good?" I said, "No. What do we do now?" And he smiled at me. And he goes, "Now we find the computers. Like we do this every night, hundreds of times." And I went, "Yeah, you're right. I'm back. Holy shit!" And he said, "Yeah, you just killed Osama Bin Laden. Your life just changed. Let's get to work."
Wow.
And I was like, "That's it, huh?" So we got to work. We gathered all the intel we could. We did DNA testing on the body. We got through one of our Arabic speakers. The girl admitted. That's him. That's Sheikh Osama. Mm-hmm. And then we had DNA. We did Forgotten Country Geronimo. My boss called that back to Adam McCraven, who relayed to the 3-letter agency who told President Obama. And then one of the helicopters that was behind us came in to get us. We put the other team on our helicopter, and the body, we had DNA, and then we left. And we did blow up the other helicopter.
How long do you think after you shot him were you actually in the compound before you guys were in the helicopters?
We were after we shot him probably 30 minutes. I think it took us. We were on the ground 47 minutes. We didn't want to be in there that long, but that's how long we were. Because the first person that's going to show up at a thing like that isn't going to be the Pakistani military. It'll be the local police. Mm-hmm. And we didn't want them there because we're not at war with them, and I don't want to kill policemen. I don't want to get in a fight with them. Yeah. And but we got into the bird that came in, and there's a guy, you can look him up on Twitter. He was outside tweeting about why is the military doing drills on a Sunday night type stuff, but it was our helicopters.
Oh, okay. Uh-huh.
And I saw him tweeting. So I saw this guy, his face lit up with his own phone, looking at us. And in a normal combat zone, if someone's outside with a phone, you shoot them because they're going to set off a car bomb. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. They're that close to a target. When I look at this guy, I'm like, he has no idea who we are. They have no idea that we're here.
Wow.
So we got on the bird, we took off, and I was in the back, and it's still, as soon as I shot Bin Laden, I'm like, is this the best thing I've ever done or the worst thing I've ever done? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I get in the helicopter. Some other Navy SEALs rescued us. One guy I sat down next to, another SEAL Team 6 guy, wasn't in the house or on the mission, but he's from Manhattan, and he said, "Who got him?" And I said, "I did." And he said, "On behalf of my family, thank you." And it's like, wow, that's deep. So now we're taking off, and we just started our watches because it's 90 minutes to get over the border of Afghanistan. And if we can live for 90 more minutes, we get 50 more years.
This had to have been extremely tense, eh?
Oh my God. Yeah. Everyone starts their watch and we're all just looking. No one's talking. It's very loud in the helicopter.
Ironically more tense than on the way there. Crazy. That's crazy.
Well, because now we're in a conventional helicopter, well, a semi-conventional helicopter, but one of the big ones with the 2 rotors. Uh-huh. But they're fast, but they're big. And, a jet can shoot down a helicopter with no problem. So, again, I'm not worrying. So I'm just going to start my watch and I'm going to watch it count. And so I'm just watching it go, just taking my mind off it. And, it's like, all right, it's been 10 minutes. It's been 20 minutes. It's been 30. It's been 40. It's been 50. We got to get to 90, but it's been 60. And then you start thinking about when you're watching a no-hitter in the top of the 8th and you don't want to jinx them. Like, I'm not saying anything.
Everybody's holding their breath like, oh.
Yeah. But we'll jinx it if we say that it's like it's been 80 minutes and now. And then I started, the best feeling is, I love sports analogies. The Miracle on Ice when the American hockey team beat the Russians.
1980, yeah.
And you hear the crowd counting down 10, 9, and they're like, we can still screw this up. We oh my God, And then at 85 minutes, the pilot came over the radio, and pilots, again, I can't give them enough love. He said, and pilots are always monotone and cool.
Calm.
He said, even on a commercial flight, right? And he said, all right, gentlemen, for the first time in your lives, you're going to be happy to hear this. Welcome to Afghanistan.
Yeah, we're in Afghanistan.
Yeah, then that's when you high five, and you're trying to find out about the other helicopter, and then we both landed, we went opposite ways. And every guy got out of that one, every guy got out of this one. There's Bin Laden's body, and it's like the point man and I, we need to talk. Like, what just happened? And we talked, and then there was the girl that found Bin Laden. She showed him, and Admiral McRae was over there. I remember Admiral McRae kind of came over, gave me one of those fatherly, like, back of the neck things.
Oh.
Like, word was spreading. I think every Navy SEAL that, as soon as they found out, the first question was they asked, who shot him? Mm-hmm. And the word got around pretty quick, and then it spread to Virginia Beach and San Diego and New York and DC. Someone from the White House called someone, but no, it was just awesome, and it was such a great time, such a great team. I mean, even think about I always talk about guys who don't get credit. Think about the air crew on those helicopters taking us in. Like, they knew how to open the door for us. What if we didn't know how to? What if we couldn't figure it out inside? Like, we're just stuck in a helicopter. And they put their butts on those seats. They rode in there. They were on the ground. The pilots were amazing. The team, I wouldn't have got there without my team. And it was just a brave guy in front of me that he went one way, I went the other. It's just, but then it's the intelligence people that found him. It's the authority given by up to the president. It's America. And it was just, it was a great night. We moved Bin Laden's body up to Bagram Airfield. They had a shed set up, not a shed, a hangar, mm-hmm. where we gave them all the stuff we found. And we have the professionals, the smart guys down there. We're giving them every piece of whatever electronics or a computer or hard drive. And then we got Bin Laden's body right here. And FBI is doing an official DNA test. And then you have breakfast being delivered, breakfast sandwiches from the Army guys. And then the TV's on, a huge plasma TV, like a 70-inch TV. I'm eating a breakfast sandwich. President Obama comes out and says, tonight I can report to the American people and to the world, the United States conducted an operation that killed Osama Bin Laden, the leader of al-Qaeda. I'm eating my breakfast sandwich. I hear President Obama say Osama Bin Laden. I look at Osama Bin Laden. I think, how in the world did I get here from Butte, Montana?
Crazy. I have chills right now. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I've told that story a bunch, and it's amazing to relive.
So you actually did get to meet President Obama.
Yes, we met most of the cabinet. President Obama and Vice President Biden came down to see us, and it was they were still trying to keep it secret. Mm-hmm. We met them in Fort Campbell, in Kentucky, where the home of the 101st Airborne.
Okay.
So that they just got back from an Iraqi tour, maybe, or an Afghanistan tour, and President Obama knew that if he was announcing he was going there to talk to the 101st, he could sneak into a hangar and see us. Mm-hmm. And he did, and that was just one of those moments where we knew his voice as he walked in. Hey, everybody! It's like, oh, that's the president. This is awesome. And I don't care which side of the aisle you're on. Anytime you meet a president, it's awesome.
Yeah. Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, he was good. But that was a time that everyone was on the same team. Mm-hmm. It was good. It lasted a week, but everyone was still on the same team.
So we've all heard stories about, like, the guys that walked on the moon, or people that win an Olympic gold medal, and people that win a Super Bowl, like they're realizing a lifelong dream. And in your case, obviously you didn't know that you were going to shoot, Bin Laden, but is it difficult to come back to regular life and say, okay, there's nothing that's ever going to really meet this standard of awesomeness? How do you go back to regular life?
It is weird. I mean, I can close my eyes and see the mission, and I can see exactly what happened anytime I want. And it was a hard adjustment. I'm sort of used to it now, but I don't want to get too used to it. I mean, it was an honor to be a part of that team. It's just regular life it's difficult. I have to race to get my credit card out in order to buy someone a drink, because they usually beat me to it. But
of course.
Other than, on the internet, there's negativity, but in person, it's always been great. And I've had people come up to me specifically to tell me that they're a practicing Muslim and they're very proud of me. Wow. And that means a world to me. Of course. That's wonderful. So, there's more security now. I need to be more aware of stuff now. But I was able to help a lot of people with the healing, people who lost loved ones on 9/11. I've talked to women that say they were on the phone with their husband, and he's saying, "Yeah, I'm leaving right now. Don't worry." And then the phone dead. And that's because the South Tower got hit, or, the woman that just the relatives of people, when I told them, they were able to put a real name and a real face with the guy that got him. It helped them knowing he's dead.
Of course. What, how can we as a community, as a country, make it easier for vets that come back, that have served as selflessly as you have, to integrate back into real life?
Just awareness that they're there and they're still at war and they're still coming home. And, it's a tough time now. Everyone needs jobs. But when we get back to normal, I started a foundation because it was called Your Grateful Nation. We changed it recently to a Special Operators Transition Foundation. Okay. But it's all on my website, robertjoneal.com. And what we do is we place them in the industries where they want to work, whatever industry. And everyone that hires says, just with their attitudes, their ability to solve problems, their stress management, I don't need them to even have a degree. I'll teach them the job. They'll be great at it. Mm-hmm. So, helping them transition. This is it's a tough time. A lot of people unemployed, but just awareness.
Yeah. How do you feel about the future of the military? We've gone through ebbs and flows of the military being super sexy and special ops being like really, really sexy. It feels as though you guys might have difficulty finding people that are qualified to be the badasses that you and your colleagues are. How do you feel about the future of being able to find those people in today's day and age?
I'm very confident because every generation changes and every older generation always says, well, look at this young generation. Like, I can't understand some of that crap music my kids listen to, but we also have our people that are there. I'm fortunate. Well, not up until recently, I'm able to travel and I get to talk to thousands of people a week. And it's just refreshing to see what's actually there as opposed to what's on, the media, especially negativity gets great ratings. And so they're going to report the negativity. Sure. But when you get out there and meet people and realize how good people are, how they genuinely get along with each other, I'm very confident what's happening. It's like I didn't know until there was Instagram. I didn't know all my friends had private jets, but just seeing stuff in person, I'm very confident what's going on and in the world.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. Okay. The last question I'm just going to ask, because you've been around some of the most highly trained teams and the most sophisticated teams, in existence. So what would you say about a small business owner or a dentist or anybody that needs to surround themselves with a great team? How do you develop it? How can you become the best leader?
Morale needs to be high for a team to be good. And what comes with that, a solid environment where people want to show up. And a lot of that is taking care to find out what makes your people want to be there, and sort of working towards a common goal. The buck stops here, but sometimes younger minds come in with fresher ideas. So don't just shut people down because they're new. If they're new and they give too much bad advice, tell them to pipe down and get some experience. But keep morale high. Don't lose your sense of humor. The realization that. Like one of my bosses, and I'm in the military, you can yell at people. Mm-hmm. But when people get yelled at, even in the military, they have a tendency to get defensive. So come at it a different way. I had a boss that would, instead of yelling at me, because I'd be ready to defend myself, he would say, "Oh you're so much better than that. I expected more," and leave. It's like, oh God, I'll never disappoint you.
Oh no, it's like the dad move. Yeah.
Make you want to do that. Yeah. But, and then, get into the routine, dude, get a routine and, one bite at a time. Yeah. Trying to think of an example, like to relieve stress in like an office environment. If you have emails that are unread for 2 weeks, just delete them. Like, they're not important. You didn't read them for a reason. And if they're important, they'll hit you up again. Get rid of the noise. Effective communication. Let your people know what they're doing and why they're doing it. And a very important one I can leave you with is for effective communication is when you're done saying what you're saying, stop saying it.
Ah, love that. Love that.
Cool.
So what's next for you, Rob?
Well, I'm working on some outdoor stuff. I'm not sure if I'm able to say yet. I've been doing some pretty cool outdoor in the ocean stuff. So working on that. I'm working on another book. I'm gonna write a little bit about this, about what do you do next.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
Hopefully I can get back on the speaking circuit because I love talking to people, and we'll hopefully get that kicked up. So, once we get this figured out and the economy starts moving again. So that's it. I want to do more. I want to do more diving with sharks. I just love it.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
of course. Well, hey man, I can't thank you enough. Thank you so much for your service. Thanks for being a real American hero. Thanks for being inspiration to all of us that feel a little less manly when we're around you. I can't thank you enough for all you've done for our country, for our community, for humanity.
And also, don't forget, right now the heroes are first responders and the nurses that go to work every day, even knowing it could be their last. They got to go, and the doctors and everyone out there fighting the fight.
All right, brother. Thanks again, man. You take care.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. That was fun.
You take care. Be safe.